Game 3 draft here, things kind of staying the same, but now we are getting Ashe and Varus on the same side. This kind of leaves up things like Jarvan that we've continued to see. If Vi is also going to be moving up, it's going to be the Yorick, so highly likely we might get a Jarvan here in this game number 3.
It does open up a jungle conundrum here. What do you prioritize? Now, Jarvan combos without the Rumble are a little bit harder to put together, but there's definitely some other champions that, let's say if a Ziggs makes its way around, it would be nice to pair alongside it. But JDG immediately sniffing out, no Jarvan being handed over to Weibo. Do we just see a Xin Zhao lock-in? Wow!
Oh, we're going for Jace like that, no fear. I guess Sion is gone, I guess Yorick is gone, okay. So, Xiaoxu, what do you got? Are you going to be taking Gragas? Or are we going to get another range top? He's already played the Vayne once. Did end in a loss. I think that Vi is probably the best champion that we have gotten from JunJia across the year, even though, again, we're putting a large focus on getting Xin Zhao here in this game. Okay, and I am now kind of looking for... It could be Vi Ahri. It could also be like Vi Twisted Fate. I know we've seen that a lot, and if you know there's going to be a Jace on the enemy team, that could be something there you go just head up to top lane, pick up a free kill.
I'm kind of down with a little bit of global pressure just to really make Zika sweat on the top side. He's never going to truly be in a 1v1 for the rest of the game. But they're going to keep their cards hidden on what HongQ is going to lock in the mid lane. They just get their guaranteed matchup into the Jace with the Kissante.
We'll just be able to lose with grace and then eventually be this massive front line. Jace kind of operates in a bit of more of a flexible position. He can be poke. He can also kind of be like this all-in assassin. So I am just looking for what Zika is going to be kind of gravitating towards with this game. Maokai, honestly, Raafaa, when I see Maokai and Jace, I kind of just want to play a poke comp. I want to make sure that I'm staying from far. No! Last minute swap to Zhen! And I know some of our other casters are talking about like Jace jungle still kind of having some legs. So honestly, we don't really know what Weibo are kind of going to put either of these champions in what role.
Yeah, hell, there might even be a world where Jace mid could be a thing for Xiaohu. There's a lot of flex options. I think the one thing we can be certain of, we know that this Bard is going into Hong's hands.
I think that's an amazing steal. We saw Vampire have probably one of the best Bard games all season long already last split. And so taking that away, and also now kind of disincentivizes JDG from going for champions that are going to have low mobility, so like the Cassio's probably going to be less likely. Vi Ahri, classic combo, has definitely fallen in priority and especially in win rate after multiple nerfs to both of these champions.
Yeah, I think the Bard kind of kills any hope for a Twisted Fate because, like you said, no mobility. The Ahri would be a little better at being able to escape that Tempered Fate. Now, going into picks and bans, there have been no AD carry prioritization in the first 3 rounds here. So they could try and attack the AD carry pool, but JDG are actually scared of the Maokai hover that Jiejie did, and they're like, you know what? They have 2 potential AD solo laners. We don't want to give them Maokai as a potential pair up here.
They're going to need magic damage. Honestly, Raafaa, I think they might be... I think Weibo are crazy enough to play something like Kai'Sa Bard bot lane. I think that that's kind of like some of the reasons. I'm just trying to find any mages. Like, where are the mages going to go through? Let's assume that Zhen is going to go topside because we've seen 0 games of Zhen jungle in the LPL from Jiejie. What else? Where else are we going to find it? Is this going to be Jace jungle and then we just take a mage mid into Ahri? You can play things like Talia still that are available. Anivia is still actually alive. I love this Lissandra ban.
Jiejie's Lilia. That's Vi's the one skirmishing jungler that can't really invade early. She can't punish. She can't really do anything to Lilia early on. Obviously, the lockdown will make it a lot harder for Lilia to operate in later team fights, but if you're just allowed to farm and Weibo just play a game where they protect the Lilia in the first, like, couple item spikes, or at least the first item spike, I think so far what's showing from JDG. Very short range, very almost melee heavy. With a Kaisa. Okay, hang on.
All right, give him more time. Give him more time. Go dive. Yeah. Go dive. There are so many options. I actually am not too unhappy if this is a Jhin to be a supplementary tool alongside Vi Ahri. Kaisa kind of just plays more into that dive, and they want to see more from Weibo. All right, what are we getting? What AD carry are we looking? And we're going to have to eventually decide where this Jace and Zehen are going. We can make a lot of assumptions here. There is that Kaisa that I was talking about. This 2v2 is not super strong. We're going to swap to Galio. All right. So Galio mid. And then what else? This is a neutralizing matchup. There is, I think, not enough damage right now from Weibo.
I'm curious if Elk wants to go for, like, Xayah to just be able to get out of the cease and desist and the death charge. Otherwise, if you want to go for pure lane dominance, Caitlyn makes sense with the Bard.
I think that Caitlyn dissuades Kaisa. We're going to go Kaisa Bard. Lane's not strong. I mean, I don't know if I like Xayah, but I mean, in the same vein that you're talking about, if you're Zehen, if you are Galio and you have to walk into Xayah, you're saying, damn, like, what am I supposed to do here? Honestly, Raafaa, I would also not be too impartial to seeing another Gala Kog'Maw here. But I don't know if he has the room in this game to play that. Does not have an Enchanter. It's going to be a Aphelios. Okay. Strong lane setup here for JDG. You have push in mid, at least for the first early couple waves. You got a neutralizing top lane matchup. And I think Aphelios Nautilus should be able to bulldoze over a Bard and a Kaisa. So early game priority, I think, for JDG is going to be so important. And for Weibo now, how are they going to get out of some of these tough matchups? I mean, Jace can bully around a little bit, but I think Zehen and Kaisa are kind of the two keys to get out of this mid game.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the last minute AD carry change for Elk, going from pure lane dominance to now Kaisa, which is not a marksman that has the easiest time of just winning lane by herself. Obviously, if you can pair it well with CC, you can try and look for some like cheesy all-ins, but you're really hoping that your team gives you the time to scale up and get some items under your belt. But she does become a huge threat that pairs really nicely with the dive identity that Weibo Gaming has for themselves here.
Let's see if they can execute on this. Again, both teams at 1-3, both teams with only 3 game wins before tonight. And look, their season doesn't get any easier, but it'd be much better to try to bounce back after some rough early starts to Split 2.
Both of these teams would favor so heavily from a win tonight to try and help even out their series score here in the regular season. Time to see how the story ends as we hit Summoner's Rift for Game 3.
What is this level 1? We are bringing everybody to the party, and if you're going to walk through Tribrush versus... Oh, God. Wow. Oh,
Never
I guess
punished.
Aphelios isn't there. Never mind. All right.
Well, the early level 1 invade pushes Vi off. As most people know, Vi level 1 is pretty dookie and can't do anything to fight against whatever Weibo Gaming want to do. So pushing them away. This is now a full red side clear coming out from Jiejie on the bottom side of the map. Could they look for an early dive even into Nautilus Aphelios? I don't know.
I don't think you're doing this as Zehen right now. I think what's more important is just getting Zehen to clear out this entire bottom side jungle, move into his blue side, and then clear that out. They could look, but I don't know if they have the damage. Look at how healthy these members are. Even at level 1, I think it's just an unrealistic ask right now. And I think what I'm more impressed right now is JunJia on the top side did his blue buff and then immediately walked into red jungle. And he's just taking all of these camps.
Yeah, he was able to get around that one ward that was defending the red buff as well as the Raptor camp. So it's just good, smart pathing from JunJia to be able to deny information away from Weibo Gaming here. Thought there was a chance for Vampire to walk up and just yoink away some of those Krugs away. Doesn't get a chance to do it though. And Jiejie returns to his bot side of the map, where finally, I'm not certain if JunJia was spotted by the last ward that was on that Raptor camp, but I mean, just props to him for being able to evade all vision control from the side of Weibo. At the end of the day, both of these junglers are just going to have vertical clears and take each other's red sides at the end of the day.
It's also super important that JunJia did this in the order in which he did. He went for blue buff into Krugs, did red, then Raptors. Mostly now they have all of the timers available, and that same information is here for Jiejie on the bot side for JDG, but now JunJia gets to do his wolves, and then he has a couple of options. He can go mid. Xiaohu did just TP back in, so it's probably less likely going to be the case, but he can now just flip his pathing, finish on topside scuttle, and then either recall or just bail out one of these lanes. I think trying to kill someone like Jace early on is really, really impactful, especially going into this K'Sante matchup where the inevitability of this tank is always going to be there.
It would really damage Weibo's first priority pick on that Jace for sure, because they put a lot of faith in Zika.
Did they spot
being
him
able to
on
carry
when
through.
he moved into mid? I don't think he did when he Vault Breakered over.
Yeah, but ward on it. JunJia doesn't show on the bush just yet. If he gets the smite down,
smite it.
Gonna be close.
Ooh.
Oh, Jiejie gets it. He pairs it nicely with the edge of his E, so he gets max. Oh, the flash hook from Vampire barely misses as Jiejie is able to dodge it with the flash. Charm connects on the Xiaohu, he goes back in, forced to flash away.
This is a really ugly trade, and with Jiejie still getting the better of that with grabbing himself the Raptors, he just sacrificed a lot of his team. I mean, that was Xiaohu who had already TP back in the lane, and now he's stuck here. Hong has to stay. This is a pretty tricky predicament, I think, if you are Weibo. You're already starting off with a minor deficit in some of these lanes.
It's one of those moments where Xiaohu just turns to his right side and say, Jiejie, I just tanked 50% of my HP and my flash. I hope that Raptor camp was worth it. For Raptors, bro. Alk might be in trouble, forced to flash. Still gets rooted up by Gala's purple gun, but still makes it out alive.
I'm just looking at inventories. Gala had already found a recall, got his gold, got a longsword, and look at this wave. It's stuck. So Vampire can take another roam if he really wants to. Looks like Kai'Sa and Bard want to try to open this one up, try to just get the wave underneath the turret, finalize a recall here for Elk. We're in a really fun spot here, Raafaa, because when information is so freely kind of spread around the map for both teams, it means that now they are acting with a lot of kind of unplaced vision and, you know, hey, we know that his respawn Raptors are coming up soon. That's something that we could play for. I know that he's going to be in his topside jungle. If I'm Jiejie, I know JunJia's going to be clearing out his wolves and Gromp at about this time, and we can still play for those respawn Raptors the third time around. You can already see Hong's coming over. They want to play for this objective.
Yeah. The biggest thing you kind of bring to light on this point is that Jiejie never got to get his own timers on his own camps on the top side until after they ran away from the top invade. So when he puts a ward on his Raptor camp, he's like, when the hell did JunJia take this? Like, what? How did he like take this ordering until he finally? Yeah. So he finally finds out that, okay, well, I guess he did Krugs, then red into Raptors, so I have to wait for that to spawn. And he can't even fight for the respawn Raptors on JunJia's third iteration of the Raptor camp. So JDG effectively defend the bot side of the map for JunJia's sake. And despite, obviously, Vibe being sometimes a little weaker when invaded upon, I think JDG have done a nice way to cover and protect and set this up. So now Jiejie's advantage that he was looking for doesn't really amount to anything.
Ooh, this is interesting. They're setting up potentially a fight here for either jungler. If they soak up a little bit of experience, I guess less likely now that JunJia has ticked over to 6, but he comes into this bot lane, soaks 1 minion of XP. He could have hit level 6, and that could have opened up something.
Yeah.
Talking about this game, though, Raafaa, when you are JDG, we talked about having winning matchups in some of these lanes and the priority that allows you to kind of move to an objective first. Weibo, with specifically Kai'Sa and Galio, are allowed to show up to fights a little bit later. They have the ability to join from much further range than their opponents, and even Bard kind of accentuates some of those strengths. So I think Weibo are going to be okay if they are second to a play. I think they're going to be less okay with it if they are down a significant amount of gold, because their damage profile is fairly limited. Dude.
Yep. I think JunJia needed to realize once Vampire backed off there, he needed to start charging up that Vault Breaker to get out alive. And now Weibo say thank you very much for the free leash. They're going to take the magical journey back over the wall. Yeah, that was not properly protected for JDG.
Well, you got the dragon, but I'm looking at this bot wave that's currently being eaten up by the turret. That's a full wave that Elk just missed out on, and you're still down versus a 50 stat Cole here on Gala. So you got the dragon, but I'm looking at JDG have a 400 goal lead and feeling super secure about their chances here.
You know, this is a very interesting dichotomy where, because I have the jungle perspective, I'm like, hell yeah, we just got the dragon and forced this guy to flash. You're like, I gave up a whole minion wave just for this stupid objective, which...
A wave, a play, like, dude! Like, I mean, sure, and we can't forget we also lost the big raptor in that first trade. So there was a lot being traded here from Weibo's perspective. We're making sure that Jiejie's feeling good and getting early dragons. This is the first time in this series we've actually seen Weibo get the first dragon of the game, but now JDG get to respond as well. They go to topside immediately, and they get 3 grubs, which is, I think, more important for just taking away from a Jace and a Galio. Galio's usually not going to get very much push, but I think Ahri is really going to appreciate having this buff.
Yeah, for what it's worth, JunJia has been pretty impeccable about securing all of these objectives in the early game. I don't know if that's just a result of Jiejie prioritizing other resources, whether it's his own farm or just not having the right setup for things like grubs and whatnot, but the fact that has been denied all 3 games at least always gives JDG a little bit of extra siege and pushing power when it comes to parts of the game when they are breaking open these turrets. Hong trying to look for a potential flank though.
Even when you clear out the Fey lights like that, like, you have Bard, so he just throws down a portal and suddenly, oops, I'm bringing over 2 people, and you are now in a very tough spot. So another game, Raafaa, 0-0-0. Elk's gone for El Clasico. I noticed my AD carry has a Cole. I will also buy one in response. Unfortunately for Elk, he has the sequel, the Cull 2, and is behind a fair amount. So Gala's already going to be getting more gold in the short term, which honestly might mean that he gets actually a little bit closer to his quest. Like, the amount that he's going to get from his quest might mean that his first item or item and a half is going to come a lot quicker, which in the grand scheme of things may not mean very much, especially when you're playing against Kai'Sa, who has specific breakpoints around her stats.
I mean, maybe. If Gala hits, like, this first item before second dragon spawns, I think that would be a nice way to give JDG some confidence in forcing a fight or power. Obviously, JunJia, without Flash, has really disincentivized any confidence in this Vi looking for plays, I guess, on the map until she gets it back, because when you are without a Flash as a Vi and you cease and desist onto a target and then they have Flash and they're under a turret, you feel pretty bad about going forward on that play. So seems like JDG are just waiting until that comes back up.
I am so scared right now if I'm a Weibo fan, because it's not like we have damage, right? Like, yes, Jace can, in those 5-on-5 standoffs, be really big. If Jiejie is able to get into the backline, that's really scary. But the ability to make fights happen are very few and far between. And I hate to say it, Raafaa, but we are going to be very reliant on Hong. This is an engaged champion for all intents and purposes when you're playing Bard.
Nice of Hong to protect Elk's recall there, tanks up the dredge line as well. Jiejie's in the area trying to see if he can make a blitz play for this crab. However, JunJia sneaking around. They have an idea. Oh, it was a guess. It was a guess. Galio with the hero's entrance, and Jiejie sends it with the ultimate. The
That's not his fault. That's not his fault.
Yeah, I know. JunJia had the flash timer again, immediately uses it. Dredge line for the re-engage. Charm onto Galio, and the big burst from the Ahri gives burst blood over to JDG. Hong now trying to run for his life, but cannot escape HongQ's Ahri. Zika's into the play in a 1v5. He's not going to get anything done. JDG just wiped the floor from Weibo Gaming.
They get 2,000 gold, and guess what? Now they get the dragon as well. That is a massive loss here for Weibo. Maybe the true killer was the hope I had all along here for this team. JDG, they get to come back here in this game. I mean, we talked about the damage maybe being lacking, especially in the early game. This is a pre-Triforce Zahen. An incredible dodge from JunJia, whether it was intentional or not. Just a comedy of misplays back to back to back. Xiaohu is now sitting here. He's activating his W. He's golden the entire time, but there's no damage. Like, this is Kaisa pre-first item.
Oh,
and Hong is now dead too.
Where are we going, Hong? Oh my goodness. Hong took a magical journey too deep into the woods of JDG and found out that he was not going to have a good time. Second dragon did go over to JDG in the end because of the teleport play from Xiaoxu answering that of Zika's. And now the echoes of the concern you voiced earlier, Alk, are starting to become even louder now that they're behind 3,000 gold.
All right. Well, I'm looking in mid. I'm 1,500 gold up as Ahri. I already have my Malignance and my upgraded boots. So with that and getting closer to second item, I think Ahri and Vi are just going to run over the rift here. They can play on side lanes. See some pings as Elk gets kind of in a small scuffle in mid, but Hong is roaming around and trying to pressure. I think right now the big ask for Weibo is, can we try to get some vision on some camps? Is there any side lane play? You're playing Jace, man. Like, this is free, I think, for JDG if they want it.
Ooh, I don't know if Vampire could actually buffer the dredge line while in Tempered Fate stasis. Nope. Does not matter in the end, as Jiejie is able to pick him off alongside the rest of the Weibros.
I'm kind of confused why we didn't fight that as JDG. I think we had numbers, and Galio is on bottom side, especially HongQ. I think that's essentially his call. Does he want to fight on this timer, yes or no? And that turns into a kill, so I think it's a small dent in Weibo's first start, but still, you are very much in control of the game right now from JDG Gaming.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the criticisms you've had about HongQ in the past is when he gets these leads in their losses, it seems like HongQ is not doing enough to really leverage his advantage. This is a time where HongQ can try and answer some of those criticisms in the past. He has the largest gold lead on his team right now, and like you said, it's up to him whether he wants to full send on an engage alongside JunJia or not.
They're just gonna pick up waves. I like this start here from JDG. Just get vision down on the top side. Anybody who enters this side of the map is dead. Galio is more than likely just gonna TP to this wave, catch this, and then let the rest of the map kind of figure itself out. But they have control, they have priority in 2 of these lanes, and they get to do whatever they want. 3 grubs, right? This turn might actually just straight up go down if they put enough people into it. They'll just take 2 plates and kind of walk themselves off.
Vampire stopped his base. Now that Xiaohu has arrived, thinking about, do we want to look for a 1v3 turret dive potentially, or if there are more people joining?
Well,
Vampire once again stopping the recall again. Jiejie trying to help Zika burn down this tier 1 turret on the bottom side of the map. I mean, Elk is being brought over to the play as well. They got a Killer Instinct in, try and look for the first brick plate. Yeah, they got first brick. Nicely done, and there's nothing that Xiaoxu can do but just die, as the rest of JDG were able to chase down Xiaohu, but they lost out on the opportunity for first brick.
Don't worry, Elk. I saw you auto-attack the turret and not Cassante. That's okay. That can stay between us. I mean, look, they had to make something happen on the side lane. Maybe if they can catch Gala. Good ghost.
Oh, good movement too. Dodges the cosmic
right
binding. All right, well, you know, last night's series, Gala was making a lot of poor movement decisions. This series so far, a lot better.
They got 2 turrets for that, so as much flack as I think we were maybe giving them for the initial onset of that, they do get mid-turret. They gave up a lot of gold as Weibo. Like, 4 people to try to kill K'Sante, sure, it makes sense in a vacuum, but Xiaohu dying here is really expensive. And I'm just looking at Aphelios, who, again, had the Cole first, got 2 plates in mid with these 3 grubs, and now JDG have Herald and the Dragon spawns in 20 seconds. I don't think we care about grabbing this objective. We can just try to say, look, we have hextech portals that can move us around the map faster. We can go for bot tier 1 if we really want to, or kind of just shove our gold lead in their face and make it impossible for Weibo to really get into the river at all. I mean, just look at the vision coverage on the minimap right now.
Yeah. Very much good signs for JDG to be able to just take this dragon without any real challenge from Weibo Gaming. But they're already focusing their efforts as Weibo towards the top side of the map. Zika, without any armor penetration, takes a while to take down this K'Sante. But if Hong and the rest of the crew joins the fray, then, well, Xiaoxu's first going to have to burn a flash just to get out alive.
Galio's
and now
dead
the same treatment is going to be paid towards Xiaohu on the Galio. Def charge the lead, the engage, and the dive. HongQ drops the turret aggro. It's now on the Gala. Okay. They take a little bit of time to get it done, but eventually the job has been completed. Gala and the rest of JDG take out Xiaohu, but Weibo have already answered on the top side of the map with a tier 1 turret.
Yep, this will be a 1-for-1 trade, and another ultimate here. I'm not liking this, Raafaa. These feel like Pyrrhic victories. We're giving up one thing to give up another leg. We're like cutting off the feet just to make sure the whole leg isn't lost. And now it's even more plates on bottom side, and now you get to set up vision. You now get to rotate to the top side of the map if you really need to. All of this gold going into the right places. HongQ's getting gold. Gala is getting gold. JunJia is getting a little bit of this. I need to see Zika pay this back to his team, because you are the Jace that now has the only gold lead in the game.
It's the big trade gambit that Weibo are making. They're weak siding Xiaohu, and they're really leaving him in the dirt, constantly being the target of these overloads from JDG. Zika has yet to find any armor penetration to be able to at least deal with Xiaoxu on the side lane. Obviously, if he gets a lot of lethality and he finds an accelerated shock blast on the squishy targets, sure. Doesn't matter. But I think the only other thing that kind of gives a little bit of hope over to Weibo is that Alk was able to participate in some of the gold. Obviously, he's still behind Gala, but I think if Weibo want to be able to fight JDG confidently, Alk needs to also have some items under his belt, and so far, he's got to.
I feel like these items are just not the same, though. Like, Hex Optics IE is just, I think, doesn't lay a candle, or hold a candle to Kraken Slayer Rageblade. This item pair for Gala is really, really OP, and it just has a ton of upfront damage. It's going to take time for Kaisa to really work her magic, and that is time I don't know if Weibo really have. If they were tankier, if this game was more even, sure, I'd say you have a ton of options. They're going to look to see if they can Bard Portal into mid. No play from JDG. They're on side lanes or coming back from base right now.
Oh, quick pivot. They see Vampire walking into Fog, and it's immediate flash out of the Nautilus to escape danger.
That's Kaisa ult, and I'm looking at the rest of the map right now. Like, HongQ's now back in mid. That was one timer they had, and they could not kill the Nautilus fast enough here. They're moving into topside river. They're going to cover for Xiaoxu while he's pushing this wave, and just continue to sap away jungle camps from Jiejie, who has been the best player for this team so far, just in this series alone.
Oh, they're forcing a different play. Tempered Fate is going to stall the dive onto Zika. Cosmic Binding locks down JunJia. No way! Oh my goodness! The turnaround is just exquisite from Weibo Gaming.
That was a clutch binding from Hong. If he doesn't land that, JunJia gets out, and we are continuing to glaze JDG's path here in this game. But that might have been a sign of relief coming through from the Weibros. They're going to have time finally to pick up some of these waves. That's gold still into Zika, who has now finished 3 items on this Jace. Very important that he does not go down there in that play. And now we're a minute and a half, and I mean, none of these teams are really close to even a soul point, so that's just more and more breathing room.
He also finally has some armor penetration with the Seralda's Grudge. Should be a bit easier to move this Cassante in the side lane war. I think he's just trying to fish for some damage right now.
Gotta be careful. He doesn't see very many other people. Teleport coming through.
Oh, okay. Well, I take it all back. I want a refund. Hang on. Hero's entrance. Hong has also arrived to the party. Is it going to be enough? With the Ahri from HongQ, he puts an end to Zika. Alk has arrived to the fray with the Killer Instinct. Can they turn this fight around? Decent damage from Gala with the Moonlight Vigil, but so far, Weibo Gaming are able to trade 1 for 2.
I'm tentatively happy about that. If I'm Weibo, like, we got 2 for 1, got the teleport out from HongQ, but similarly had to lose out on some of our own spells here. Most importantly, Zika not having flash. It's 20 seconds before Dragon. I don't think either team can really posture, but it's a minor advantage going over to Weibo. I mean, Xiaoxu is just going to TP back to this play, and right now you can already see Vampire moving it out of base using those hextech portals. Never mind, he's going to do it the hard way. He's just going to walk.
He's going to get some extra steps in for the day. Respect.
Yeah.
Now, Weibo Gaming are the first ones in the river. Dragon is about to spawn. Big note, no flash on JunJia. No flash on Zika either. Everyone else, though, has these tools to work with. JunJia's able to vault break his way into the Dragon Pit, and the rest of JDG are forcing Weibo Gaming back.
They're going to play onto one side. That's super important to do when you're playing with a Jace. Play on one side, let him get that poke. Jiejie will be spotted, and Alk, no ultimate for right now. It's going to be coming off of cooldown. They don't even have heroic entrance.
Oh, Xiaoxu is just forcing him away. Tempered Fate is going to stall some time on the Dragon Pit. Xiaohu flashes and gets the taunt, trying to stall time, but JunJia is the only jungler in the pit. Jiejie was taken out by Xiaoxu's all out. 07, he burns the flash, he gets away from danger, but he does his job and guarantees the 3rd dragon for JDG.
Pings are going out. JDG might want to look to try to force onto Baron here. They're going to take care of this scuttle. All right, it's a fake call. It's a fake call. We're going to go into the replay to watch what happens here. But they just don't have I think, a reliable enough front line from Weibo's position. JDG are sitting around terrain, so it's not very easy for them to walk forward. I love what Xiaoxu has done here in this game so far. Just Cassante out the jungler. He has no easy ways of getting back into the pit. Makes it impossible for them to try to find a fight. And while Zika does get that pick onto Vampire, I think putting yourself on Soul Point as JDG Gaming is as good as it's going to get for yourself here.
HongQ has yet to find enough gold to complete what I assume will be a Rabadon's death cap. Off that spike, HongQ is going to be massive. He's already had a major advantage in this game, but that should be enough of a lethal breakpoint where any target that JunJia picks that is not Jiejie should just get blown up by him and Ahri.
Dude, you know what? I actually just got a massive flashback of the last time I had to watch Xiaohu play a Galio game. It was Game 5 versus Top Esports, and I wish I had that last game back. This is the same thing. He was playing against Smolder that time. Ahri's a much different champion, I'll give him that, but it's not good. It's not good being 2,500 gold at this point. Not incredible, but like you said, HongQ is coming upon a very important item completion soon, and like, Alk does a lot of damage. That is kind of what I'm saving for. It's Zika, Alk, and what else can we get from Weibo Gaming?
Right. HongQ was forced out of the pit, took way too much damage from the poke, and the Baron aggro leashing onto him. But the death cap has been completed. HongQ, 10 stacks on this Dark Seal, is at an all-time power spike. JDG have to rally through this Ahri Vi combo that they invested into the draft so early on in this Game 3. And on paper, they should be able to do it, but Weibo Gaming have been finding pocket after pocket that is, once again, creating this tingling sensation in the back of my mind, Alk.
You might want to get that checked out. Typically, tingling sensations in the back of your head, not a good sign. So, just make sure you have someone around the house. But if it's purely cosmetic or purely just a feeling from this game, then that is the mind killer. Okay, that you saw what happened in game 2 when you had that tingling feeling. Okay, we were in that game for another 10 minutes, but.
I'm gonna keep it reserved for now.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let the game.
My predictions are on the line for this. Okay, I predicted we had a 6-game day. I was right. I also did predict that Weibo would win. I'm feeling less confident about that, but I'm sticking true to my prediction. Okay, we already. I saw the LCK guys were flaming Raz already for flip flopping. I'm gonna do the same.
Honestly, that's so valid. And what is valid as well is that Elk is getting some extra protection for himself with the Secret's Arm Guard. One-time cast before he's able to fully upgrade it into a Zhonya's should be at least a good tool to buy time if he is the target of a Vi ultimate combo with the Ahri. Weibo Gaming did not go for the Baron during this time, just only making sure that JDG themselves were not starting it up for free. They're the first ones in the mid wave. There's 47 seconds before the hextech dragon spawns. This is soul point for JDG, and Weibo Gaming need to do everything to stop them from getting it.
Oh, this is expensive. Xiaoxu is just going to TP. I think JDG just want to fight now. They want to move in through mid lane, see if they can find anybody that's out of position. Maybe it's Hong, maybe it's Zika, and then just move in and go towards the bot side. You already see HongQ pushes a wave top. That's 2 waves that Weibo are not answering right now. Yeah, Xiaohu is going to recall. Where is he going? He's TPing the bottom lane wave. All right, this is the all-in. This is the gambit from Weibo.
One turn is all that is needed from JDG to guarantee the hextech soul.
And that's it. There's no smite. There's no summoner spell or unsealed spell book. There's nothing here for Weibo to be able to do anything about this fight. That is a hextech soul, and that might just be JDG moving up to 2 and 3.
Weibo Gaming will give it all to try and defend this game and their base. But without their jungler for the next 20 seconds, Baron is the next objective on the table for JDG. Tempered Fate hits 2. Gala might be a target here. Xiaohu goes golden. I don't think they can really follow up. They're forced to bail. Xiaohu gets caught in a magical journey, and the subject is Zika, who has to pay the price for the attempted engage by Weibo down a man. Jiejie finally respawns just to see 2 of his solo laners hit the floor. And now Jiejie might be able to at least make it interesting for a 50-50 smite, but another charm from HongQ connects on Alk. He's 50% HP. He's not going to commit, as the ulti had already timed out here. Hong is trying to get vision control for Jiejie to maybe look for a miracle steal.
This is what love is called. This is called just believing every time, even if you know it's going to hurt. And
yes, flash.
Continuing to believe can do anything. This is such a tough find. Jiejie still has flash. They don't even want to risk it. They don't want to go for it. They're instead just going to pull off. All right, JDG, what was that? Like, we got a insane find onto Jiejie before that dragon.
And JDG thankfully have done enough tape and homework to know that Jiejie put in those scenarios where it's just a pure 50-50 smite, somehow he finds a way to win them. So they take their bases.
Well, you didn't win the one in the last game.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't fit my narrative, so...
There you go. Perfect. Continue on, as you were.
Yeah. Well, JDG with hextech soul, this is one of the few dragons in the game where we, as broadcasters, feel, you know, this is truly a win condition, and JDG should be in position now to close out this game after one more commanding fight. As JunJia sails on forward with the Vault Breaker, doesn't want to pull the trigger just yet onto Elk. JDG just trying to bully Weibo out of this topside river.
4 items for Gala, 4 items for Elk. Probably why JunJia did not decide to send it. Has the Zhonya's and the Flash, so would have been a one-way trip, I think. But with Hextech Soul, you can do nary wrong a lot of the time right now. So I think Weibo are just recognizing it is so tough to play when you don't really have like a consistent enough front line and you don't really have a consistent amount of engage. You're waiting for a Bard ultimate, which in that case, what we just saw is him Bard ultimate his mid lane or his top laner and get them killed immediately. There was nothing for Weibo to do in that last fight. And it's only going to get more difficult. There's going to be more gold in the game. Champions are going to just get naturally tankier as they get more and more stats with their levels. And there's even a GA now here for JunJia. So this is going to have to be a miracle of a fight. Otherwise, JDG can just continue to do what they have done best. Slow and steady objective setups and clean enough team fighting.
JDG effectively pulled the
This guy's dead too.
Out of Zika, but Xiaohu is the first one to fall. He gets snagged over the wall. Tempered Fate is a big old whiff in the middle of all 5 of them. Cease and desist right on Alk. Good night to the Kaisa, and JDG have no more worries for the rest of their days in this game. JDG will blast every last one of the Weibros back to the oblivion, and JDG will clean this series 2-1.
And in dominant fashion, there were questions. Was JDG going to continue to fall, or was it a momentary lapse in judgment for them? They'll move up to 2 and 3, and hey, Weibo made him work for it, but as the series went on, it just felt like JDG were leveling up.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, and JDG finished out in big ol' style, 2-1 series victory.
I'm happy for
Sorry,
JDG.
brother.
I'm happy that you won. I'm really glad. I want to see you continue to succeed, as I do with all of our players. There have been 4 series for Weibros. I have voted for Weibos in 3 of them. The one I didn't is the only one I got right, and it was a 2-0 for BLG.
Yeah. Well, I will shoulder some of the heartbreak by taking some of the responsibility for getting my hopes up in second game of the series off the Lee Sin. So if you're upset and you're in despair, you can just say jungle diff. And in this case, Raafaa, not Jiejie, because
I don't think it was a jungle diff here tonight.
No, it wasn't. Because the jungle diff didn't fucking matter.
Say goodbye. Everyone, go ahead. Say goodbye to Raafaa. We're sending him to the farm.
No. Guys, it's not AM. I apologize for my lack of professionalism.
Bro, you already gave me Mbessa Dami Mommy. You already said no hoes, no bros. Like,
I've been trying to keep it clean.
We lost this like 6 months ago, man. Well, not even longer than that, honestly.
But
get back in your chair, man. Come on. Let's finish out the show strong.
I've been trying to keep it clean for the second split and be less sus on. And at least this wasn't in the game. This was outside of the game.
And this is fairly tame in comparison. I still don't think we're going to let you slide for saying Mbessa ult in China. That one...
Oh! Okay. The funny thing about that one is that no one else caught it other than you and me. And I just... Oh... How do we reflect on this series, Alk? That's what I want to focus on, because...
Well, I came into tonight wanting to be very neutral for the teams. Obviously, I think I spent a lot of time talking about Weibros and kind of getting them hyped up because they won that game 1 in fairly emphatic fashion in the way that they did it, in a very clean way versus JDG. And when we came in, again, their records had reflected it. They're both 1 and 3, 3 and 6, 3 and 7. These teams, by all accounts, if you only looked at standings, should be even with each other. And their strength of schedule going into today was actually fairly similar. JDG, they played against BLG, AL, Top Esports, and NIP. For Weibo, they played against AL, NIP, BLG and IG. So only one team that is different from the other one in IG versus Top Esports. So
yeah,
their schedule is actually fairly similar up until this point, and for them to end with the same record before tonight, I thought there needed to be a little bit more respect put on Weibo, and then I remembered it's Weibo, and I should just never trust these guys to win unless it's against Team WE. So I am going to, moving forward, not predict them to win very many series. It's probably going to save my predictions, save my heart, and I'm going to just expect very little from this team. These drafts are confusing. The play that we are getting in some of these, like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like in this series, when I look back at some of the big difference makers and who was the most consistent on both of these teams, I think I don't know how I feel about Gala potentially getting MVP of the series, because he's already gotten player of the game in game 2. I feel like Xiaoxu deserves it. He absorbed the Jace matchup super well. There is a lot of deliberate play from Weibo trying to accelerate the Jace and put him in a position where he could be a threat. That never happened. Xiaoxu also just identified a lot of correct decisions to do in team fights, like keeping Jiejie out of the pit. But my last grievance I want to just quickly get in is that up until game 3, I thought Jiejie was playing a far better game than JunJia was. But then this game 3 Zhen jungle, there's like nothing being done on the Zhen. I don't know what this pick was supposed to achieve in this game. And I want to give him some credit that it is really hard to. The draft gave him 0 things to play with. You had no toys. There were no toys in this box. There's only pain, misery, and a job application in the bottom of that barrel. So, it's really tough because it's like, okay, we knew Viari is coming, so we're gonna pick Galio, and then my Galio is down tempo early because he had to take a forced recall, and then we played on mid because we wanted to play for early Raptors. Remember that trade? Had to lose his flash early after just TPing back into lane. It was already messed up. There was a lot of messed up things that compounded into what was a great JDG meal, but a very famished and impoverished Weibo snack. Yeah. Final check-in. What are your feelings on HongQ? Because he had the most gold on Ahri this game. It was kind of on him to direct whether he wanted to force plays or not. Obviously, JunJia leads it, but he can always call, like, go, 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 I'll follow. Was this satisfactory enough for you to feel like HongQ has answered on some of the previous games where you feel like he's not doing enough? Like, the Zero game, like, he kind of didn't do very much. I think the Aurora game, he was fine. Like, held his own in the lane, which is kind of what we expect from Aurora, and then had some team fights where he just kind of piddle-paddled. Like, game 2, MVP was Gala, rightfully so, for what he did on Ezreal. I'm okay. I'm still... I don't think this series really determines anything for me versus HongQ. It is Xiaohu, so it's not... I don't think it's the toughest matchup in the world, so... I don't know. Generally, though, I would say that I think that JDG, despite being in their home arena, felt a little bit uncomfortable. And I do want to bring up an interesting tidbit that I hadn't really talked about, or I hadn't really thought about until I saw Nymera online kind of bring it up, is that for the teams that have home arenas, very often they're going to play their games like on days back-to-back consecutively or very close to each other. And looking at JDG's schedule, they played both on Friday and Saturday last week, this week, next week,
and then they play they have at least a little bit of break in week 5. They have 3 series in week 6, and that's with 1 day in between each of them. So in terms of preparation, this was a very important game and important series, obviously, for them to win, because you're playing all these back-to-back games. Your prep is probably not going to be as intense for both teams, considering you only have essentially 3 days to kind of go over your series and also prep for the next team, and then you have to play the day afterwards. So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what else we get from JDG that is actually going to properly develop some of these players that we've had for at least for a fair amount of time. Like we kind of know what HongQ is going to bring to a team, so I want to see what else we can kind of get from him aside from some of his more wacky picks.
Okay, well, I think that's a totally fair assessment. I want to be able to give a little bit more praise, just because I know Xiaohu is not the highest benchmark to clear, but I definitely felt a lot more emboldened to be respectful or like admiring HongQ's play. Sorry, I was trying to figure out what word I wanted to freaking say. Especially when Xiaohu starts off the series super hot on the rise. Because at first I was like, oh my god, Xiaohu is on fire right now. And then the play just kind of declined over the series, which, you know, I was like, oh yeah, that's the Xiaohu I know right now. But the rise was so pog. I was like, okay, maybe this mid lane matchup will be like super competitive and whatnot. So we do want the best for HongQ, because he generally was the most exciting player of 2025, or the most exciting rookie of 2025. And when he came over with JunJia from CFO, I think that was like the biggest sell of this JDG rebuild project for 2026, other than Tabe being on the coaching lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously, I think, spent a little bit of a pretty penny, considering CFO is a bank, but that and Gala. Gala was the biggest pickup. Gala basically held up the entire offseason market, but we don't have to talk about that. It's been 5 months since we've had off-season talk, so we can move on from that. We do have updated standings for all of our games from today. Not a ton of movement, right? BLG, they go from 4th to 2nd by taking a win versus IG. IG then kind of subsumed that, so they swap positions. JDG is going to move up to 2 and 3, but due to game record and with AL not having played their 5th series either, they're going to be sitting in 5th place right now. Raafaa, if we froze the playoff standings right here, our top 4 would be automatically seeded into playoffs, and then we would have a play-in series between top 4 of Nirvana and bottom 4 of Group Ascent. This, I'm not going to lie, this kind of looks right from where I'm standing, but maybe not in the order that I'm looking at.
I mean, this would be a funny jump scare moment for anyone who is following LPL explicitly through playoffs of last split. And they haven't watched any of regular season 2, right? Because they already look at the bottom 4 and they're like, why the hell are the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th placing teams in playoffs in this part of the group, right? Whereas you have not only top esports, which could be a little understandable if you just know that, oh, okay, Jackie Love and Tien back on the roster. All right, reasonable upgrades. But not only IG are in the top 4, you have Ninjas in Pajamas at 3rd right now. I'm genuinely excited about this team right now.
Do you know how messed up it is? I said this on the podcast. This is a cruel world where you have to make me get excited about watching Hoya play. So, who knows? Anything's possible now. This is magic. This is the magic of Group Ascend. Player of the game. All right.
He was the only deathless member on the team.
And a great scoreline. In between 2 of the funny numbers. But player of the series, probably Xiaoxu. Xiaoxu across all 3 games was like really, really nuts what he was able to accomplish. Game 1 wasn't fantastic, but I think you could say that of everybody on this team.
Xiaoxu was the victim of multiple gangbangs, man. I mean, like, what are you supposed
Not
to
again! Do? Not again! This is way worse than the one you had like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, I meant to say just ganks. My bad. It's 9 a.m. I've been up for a while. They gave it to HongQ.
Just do the coffee read, man. Just do the coffee read. Get me out of here.
As you wish, my lord. Before we close out tonight's show, we want to give a huge thank you to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup and Mung. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an English LPL product every single day. On behalf of the entire English, or the LPL English product, myself, Raafaa, and Alk, producer Ice, and the rest of the socials and Mon team on for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure you tune in same time tomorrow for more LPL action.